So first of all, I'd like to say that I relate very much to Onkar's experience. I just moved to St. Louis, which is 6 miles from Ferguson, 9 months ago. And so all your observations, I mean, it's stunning to me that there's a street that separates the white part and the black part, and never the twain shall meet. It's something as a Canadian that I'm grappling with. I have a sort of two-part question. Greg, you spoke something to some extent about sensitivity to racism and what ways we're enacting it, perhaps subconsciously, or we may not see the other person's perspective. How would you differentiate that from the broadly named white privilege movement? And I'm thinking of a person in this room who told me that professors at her university at the start of the term are asked to step forward or step back based on the response to certain questions. So if you're white, male, whatever, educated, you step forward. If you're whatever else, you step back. And it's a public, I mean... They
call it privilege walk.
Correct. The idea is to highlight your awareness of those differences, and that's clearly evil.
So that's one, you want one question, I'll answer it, and then another?
Correct, yeah,
okay.
it's two parts.
Okay, I'd like to get other people, Onkar and I talked a bit about this last night. I'll say a little bit about what I think about it, and I'd like, if you want to come in. So I think the idea of privilege is a package deal, but let me say be clear about what I mean by that, because a package deal isn't just a concept that's awful and you want to get rid of everything about it. It's bringing together two different things that don't belong together. So I think there's a legitimate point that's being captured somewhat by that concept, that's being put together with other things that are illegitimate. And what's legitimate about the idea of privilege is that there are kinds of issues that you're insulated from noticing or dealing. First of all, there's discrimination and bigotry, which is bad. And then on top of the fact of regular discrimination and bigotry, there's the fact that it's easy not to see it if you're in a group that doesn't face it. So there's the non-obviousness to you of bigotry and of other kinds of considerations, costs and difficulties that people have to bear from things other than outright bigotry that are in minority groups. I'll just give one quick example of that because it was striking to me. If you're gay, when do you tell someone that when you meet them? If you come up and say, you know, hi, I'm John, I'm gay, that's really weird. But then if you've been friends with them for a while and you've never said it, then, oh, you're gay? Why didn't you you know, now think if every time you meet someone, you have this calculation, that's a real cost. And if any of you are sensitive about being objectivists or atheists and how people deal with that, all right, that's a tiny little bit of that. Think of how much worse it would be for something like that. And there are all kinds of things like this that it's just easy not to notice are problems for people. So that's a real fact, and the people who are talking about privilege are in a way calling attention to it, and we should be sensitive to it. But calling it privilege, I think, this goes to what Tara was talking about altitude. It makes it sound like, oh, it's great, how good it is for me, a straight white male, that gay people don't have it good in certain respects and black people don't. I'm worse off rather than better off because of that. Other people's oppression or other people's being discriminated against doesn't make me better off. It's a cost to everyone. It's more a cost to them than to me, but it's a cost to everyone. And calling it privilege is designed, I think, to make the people who aren't discriminated against feel guilty, rather than designed to make them sensitive to the real problems. And I think it backfires, because I think it makes the people resentful of the people who they're told to think they have privilege. It makes them feel guilty, but also resentful. So I don't think it's morally just to use that term, and I don't think it'll be effective in combating bigotry. But nevertheless, there is something true that they're pointing out, and it's getting packaged with altruism, basically.